Welcome to Python with Andrew. And today's video, I'm going to continue on with another example of using file input and output and functions. This time, I'm going to do a basic inventory module. And this is going to read in some information from a file, do a simple update of one inventory item, and then write the inventory back out to the file. So it's a good example of the simplicity of reading data in, doing some processing, and then writing it back out. Now, this inventory, I'm going to use very, very basic data structure. I'm going to use a list. And also, I'm only going to store the item name, and the quantity we have on stock. So I'm going to make it very simple. Why this is useful is we'll start to see the problems of the basic reading and writing, and that'll lead us on to more discussion about better ways to read and write files, whether we use a better data structure or whether we use a better file structure. But this is a good, if you like, baseline for our discussion. So let me jump over to my blank code, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create two functions, read inventory in and another one, write inventory out. And this, the first one, let's define it, read inventory. That's going to take a file. And it's going to use a local variable of an inventory that I'm going to use. I'm going to use a list as my data structure, and then I'll return it from the function. And I'm going to set a data file to open the file for reading. Okay, and then for every line in the data file, I'm going to do the following. Now, the data file is going to look like this. I'll show you my example here. All right, you can see very, very simple. It's just one word for the item name and one word for the number or the quantity. Now, when I read this quantity in, it's actually going to be a string. It doesn't really matter because I'm not going to be doing anything with it. This is just a good illustration. There's lots of problems with this. This doesn't work with longer names. It just works with simple one. But it'll do to show our process. So I'm going to append to the inventory the line, but I'm going to split it because I want to access the line as two elements. So now each line is a list of name and quantity, and my overall inventory is a list of lines or a list of lists. And we'll see that when we do a printing out of that. That's all I want to do. And then I want to do data file close just to clean up. And then I want to return the inventory. Okay. So that file there is going to read that. So let's just set that up. Go inventory, read equals read inventory. Okay, so that's, and I'm just going to use a basic print inventory. It's not going to look pretty, but it'll show us what we're doing. So I've created my function, read the inventory in, line at a time, and build up a list of item stock and return that. Okay, my main program reads the inventory and then just prints it out. Okay, so let me save that. Let's see what happens if I run this. Let's see if I can get it right first time. Okay, so that worked okay. You can see that I've printed out my list of lists, hammer 10, nuts 20, etc., which if you go back to the text file, it looks very similar to the text file, okay? Again, my printing is not very good, but it'll do for this exercise. Okay, so the other thing I note, remember, these numbers are strings. I should convert them, but it doesn't really matter for our exercise. Okay, now the other thing I want to do is I'm going to set the inventory of one element, the hammer, to 11. I'm going to set it as a string because it was a string. Again, it should be an integer, but I'm just doing this briefly. And now I want to, so I've updated my inventory. Of course, that would be a much more complex application. You might do multiple updates, adding items, deleting items, etc. But all I'm doing is making one change to demonstrate what I'll do. Okay. The one thing I didn't do up here is show you that I'm good at documentation. Now, the other thing I want to do is define a write inventory. And this time it's going to take a file and it's going to take an inventory. Okay. Okay. So in this one, all I want to do is open up the file again, this time for writing. So if the inventory is not there, it will actually delete. If the file's not there, or if it is there, it'll delete it and start again. So data file. So equals open file. Which of course looks very similar to the one line above. We're just opening it for writing this time. And for line in inventory, so this time I'm going to work through the inventory. I want to write line, the 0 element, plus space, a couple of spaces, plus line 1, plus a new line character. Okay, now I'm doing that. Again, I could format it in a much nicer, but for this purposes, it's fine. But I'm going to write one line at a time. Notice the write function only takes one argument, so I need to make the whole line a string. I'm doing it the simple way. There are better ways of doing that. And I'll let you work that one out. And then I want to close this data file. Now, what I'm doing is I'm writing the file, writing the inventory to a file line by line. So down here, I should be able to, and I'm going to do it to inventory2.txt. When I've satisfied myself that this is working properly, then I would overwrite the inventory file at the beginning. But I'm not convinced that I've got it right yet. So we've read the inventory in, we print it out just for our own benefit. We're updating one of the numbers and then we're writing it back out. So let's see what happens when I run that. Okay, so it prints it out there. Now, if I did a print inventory, if I actually go to inventory2.txt, you'll see that the file has updated and it's got 11 in there instead of 10. Okay, So it is working. As I mentioned, there are some problems with this, and that's going to lead us on to the next video where we might want to improve and use a different method of reading and writing files, maybe reading and writing a CSV or an Excel file, so that we can format it better and we can get the data types better and probably get more information about our inventory in. But this is the basic one. I like this because it's a good bit of practice of functions, simple function, read the file in, simple functions, write the file out. And in here, line 25 is really the main part of our program, doing all the work. In my example, it's not doing much work, but you could imagine we could do a lot more work in there. So this program reads it in, does some work, and then writes it back out. And I probably should make this write it out to the same file. So this time, if I run it once, it'll say hammer 10. But if I run it again, it should say hammer 11, and it does, because I've overwritten the file. Right, so I could update many of the inventory items. Okay, so that's another example worth trying. Try and extend this program by adding more items to the inventory, by adding more attributes to each item, maybe a price, maybe a barcode. You could add all sorts of things to your inventory and then try and do some more work in here. Maybe update all quantities, or maybe write a function to add a new item before you print that out. Shouldn't be hard to do. Probably it's only about 4 or 5 lines to add an item to our inventory. Plenty of exercise if you do, plenty of practice in reading and writing files. We'll move on now and look at more complex file structures and more better ways that Python has of reading and writing information into files. Thanks for that. I hope you enjoyed it, and have a great day.